Update. I forgave my cheating wife, but she just cheated again, so this time I went all out and took our house and kids while she was left helpless. I walked right into the room and they jolted. In fear, my wife immediately pulled the covers up to hide her body and her face. The guy with her seemed incredibly confused. I wasn't convinced that he didn't know he had been sleeping with a married woman all this time. He was only shocked that I was around when she had probably guaranteed him I wouldn't show up. He started to wear his clothes, and my wife just hid beneath the covers as I stood in the doorway. I really didn't know what to do. Like, what exactly is the appropriate reaction when you find your wife sleeping with another man in your matrimonial bed? Well, I figured out what my body thought was the appropriate reaction. The man, now with his pants on and trying to button up his shirt, walked towards the door to leave the room, and I slugged him. I didn't even think about it before I did. I just gave him a solid hook to the jaw, and he fell back onto the bed. My wife yelled when she felt the impact. The guy rubbed his chin and touched his busted lip to look at the blood, and he stood up again. This time I let him pass, and I heard his car start up a minute later. I should have done more than just that, but 1, I could have unalived him with the way I felt, and 2, I didn't want to waste all my energy on him when my wife was the one with the burden of faithfulness. I mean, I felt so goddamn stupid. I had really let this woman cheat on me twice, or at least twice, and this second guy was a recurring thing. I really should have cut her off when I had the chance, new baby or not. I ripped the covers off her so I could see her face and her body. At that moment, I was disgusted by everything about her. I think that I didn't go this deep and thought the first time she cheated on me, because if I had, I know I never would have touched her again. But here, I just saw a guy with her. They were just going at it a few minutes ago. Look at me, I said to her because she was still covering her face like a schoolgirl, and it made her instantly look. Once she made eye contact with me, all I said was, "This is over. I want a divorce, and I'm going to make sure that you regret taking me for a fool." Then I walked out. I left my wife there, got into my car, and went back to work. I really don't know why I returned to work, but I think I needed something to get my mind off of things. By the time I was done at night, I just went to a hotel with a bottle and drank so I wouldn't have to think about anything. I've already reached out to a divorce lawyer. It was a no-brainer, and I've paid a retainer. I'm going to fight tooth and nail to make sure I get custody of my children, but beyond that, I want to cause her pain, and I'm trying to figure out how I honestly can't be taken for a fool like this, especially because I already made myself a fool by letting her cheating get away with things once before. I guess it's true that once a cheater, always a cheater. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts and hopefully advice on the approach I can take next. Edit 1. I saw a lot of suggestions saying that I aim for the job, and that's a good suggestion, but I'm really unsure of what angle I can take to get her fired. That one might be a tough ask, but I'll think more on it. Just for context, she works in a law firm in case anyone has suggestions for me. Edit 2. I saw a suggestion about getting her in trouble by deleting important files she has access to or leaking confidential info. Thankfully for me, I do know a few of her passwords after so long together, so this might actually be practical. I'll see what I can do, but for now, I've got to go until the next update, I suppose. Update 1. I'm really happy as I'm writing this update because the divorce proceedings have finally concluded between I and my ex-wife Grace. Hopefully, you all remember the story well enough. It was a pretty messy journey here, so let me tell you guys everything and how it went down. So, after I caught my wife cheating in our bed, I went to sleep in a hotel, and I was there for about 5 days because I was totally unsure about how to go about things. After that, I showed up at the house to see my kids and make up a dumb excuse as to why I might not be around every day, which broke my heart. I went to my brother's place following that, which wasn't too far. I had to tell my workers I wasn't feeling great, and I didn't show up until the next week. However, it was during that time that I had gotten a lawyer, and he had started the necessary paperwork for me. He told me that things would probably be tough, especially since my wife worked at a law firm, but he was the best in the state according to him, so I felt confident. My wife got served at work, which made me glad because it must have caused a bit of embarrassment, but that was just the start of things. An important piece of the puzzle came together on one of the days when I came home to see the kids. Tell me why my son told me about the time when he was sick and took time off from school for 2 days, which I recall, and just randomly mentioned Mom's friend. As soon as he said that, I started recording the audio. Apparently, Mom's friend drove a big black car, and she came around on one of those days he was at home. This literally happened about a week before I caught her. Honestly, I was furious, but I had to keep my cool around the kids because this meant that Grace was fornicating even with the kids in the house, bringing random men around my children.